Hello, welcome back. We are in the sixth session of the I Am statements of Jesus. Together we have walked through the bread of life, the light of the world, the gate, the good shepherd, and the resurrection and the life. Tonight we come to the statement that is perhaps the most discussed, the most cherished, and sometimes the most wrestled with of all seven, spoken in the most tender, most difficult, and most intimate setting of any. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus spoke these words in the upper room. It was the night before the cross, their last meal together. The night that began with the quiet humility of foot washing, the teacher on his knees before his friends with a basin and a towel. Judas had already slipped out into the darkness. Peter had been gently warned that he would deny Jesus 3 times before morning. And into that heavy atmosphere, Jesus said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me." Then he added, "You know the way to the place where I am going." And Thomas, with honest, vulnerable courage, spoke up, "Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" It is such a human question, not clever or argumentative, but simple and bare. The question of someone who is lost and willing to admit it. We do not know the way. And isn't that the question so many of us carry quietly tonight? The uncertainty about direction, the wondering whether the path we're on is the right one, the ache of not knowing where this is all leading and whether the walking is worth it, the thoughts that visit in the dark when the day is done and the heart feels unsure. We do not know the way. Into that exact place, Jesus speaks with such tenderness. I am the way, and the truth, and the life. 3 gentle, powerful words, each one answering a deep human longing. And let's spend this hour with the words Jesus spoke on the hardest night of all, to the fearful, confused hearts he loved so deeply. Words that have become the firm ground beneath our feet ever since. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? John 14:1-2. Thomas said to him, "Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 14:5-6. If you love me, keep my commands, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. John 14:15-17. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. John 14:27. Your word is truth. John 17:17. I am the way, the truth, and the life. 3 words, each one enormous, each one worth unpacking separately before seeing how the 3 form a single claim. The way, hodos in the Greek, is the road, the path, the route of travel. But hodos in the first-century world meant more than the physical road. It carried the sense of the manner of living, the way of conducting the life, the direction and the method simultaneously. The early church called itself the Way, Acts 9:2, before the followers of Jesus were called Christians. The Way was the specific, practiced, completely real manner of the life organized around the teachings and the person of Jesus. I am the Way. The way is not a set of directions to be followed in the absence of the guide. It is the person who is the direction. The walking in the way is the following of the one who is the way, the walking in the company and the direction of the person who goes ahead. As the good shepherd goes before the sheep, the way is walked by following the one who is the way. The truth, aletheia, is the unhiddenness. The Greek carries the sense of the thing that is unconcealed, that is what it appears to be, that does not perform a reality different from the reality it is. The aletheia is the reliable thing, the trustworthy thing, the thing whose outside matches its inside, the thing that is not one thing in the light and another in the dark. I am the truth. The truth in the first-century philosophical world was the contested category. The sophists had made a successful career of demonstrating that truth was whatever the most persuasive argument made it. Pilate will ask in John 18, "What is truth?" The question of the person who has stopped believing that the truth is a stable category. And Jesus says, "I am the truth, the reliable reality, the thing that is what it is regardless of the persuasive argument, regardless of the political pressure, regardless of whether the observer wants it to be true. The truth is the person. The life, Zoe, is the specific Greek word for the divine life, the life that is the life of God, distinguished from bios, the biological life of the creature. The Zoe is the life that was in the beginning with God, the life that the Word who became flesh brought into the world, the life that the resurrection and the life statement offers to the person who believes, the life that death cannot interrupt. I am the way and the truth and the life. The three are not three separate claims. They are the three dimensions of the same claim. The way without the truth is the path that may be going somewhere false. The truth without the way is the knowledge that does not move. The life without the way and the truth is the vitality without direction or ground. Together, the way, the truth, the life, they form the complete account of what Jesus is offering to Thomas and to every person who has asked Thomas's question in every generation since. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The instruction comes because the hearts are troubled. The disciples are in the upper room on the night before the crucifixion, and their hearts are troubled because the situation is genuinely troubling. The teacher they have followed for 3 years has told them he is going away. The one who is going to restore Israel is talking about preparing rooms. The Passover meal has become the Last Supper. Everything they understood about what was happening is being overturned in real time. Thomas's question is the troubled heart asking the most honest question available. We do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? The contemporary person carrying Thomas's question is the person who does not know the direction, not the obvious directional confusion of the acute crisis. though this is real and the I Am addresses it directly. The quieter, more persistent, more common directional confusion of the person who is walking a path and who is not certain the path is going anywhere worth arriving at, who is doing the work, maintaining the relationships, pursuing the goals, and who lies awake occasionally with the specific private question, is this the right direction? Is this the way? Is what I am walking toward worth the walking? The truth claim addresses a different need. The contemporary world is in what many describe as a truth crisis, the specific, widespread condition of the person who has been told so many conflicting accounts of reality by so many competing voices that the category of the reliable truth has become genuinely unstable. The person who does not know what to trust, who has received the information and the counter-information and the fact-check of the fact-check, and who arrives at the end of the day uncertain whether anything that was said today was the reliable reality. Pilate's question, "What is truth?" is more contemporary now than it was in the 1st century. And the life claim addresses the vitality deficit. The person who is alive in the biological sense, who is breathing and present and functioning, and who experiences the specific, persistent, difficult to name sense that the life being lived is not the full life. The bios is present. The Zoe is thin. The going through the motions quality of the person whose existence is technically in order, but whose living does not have the quality of the alive. 3 needs, 3 words. 1. I am. To understand the full weight of the I am the way, the truth, and the life, it is essential to understand where it is in the story. John 13-17, the farewell discourse, is the longest uninterrupted teaching passage in any of the 4 Gospels. 5 chapters. The last evening before the arrest. The most intimate conversation in the entire Gospel of John. Jesus speaking to the 12, to the 11 by the time Judas leaves, with the specific, careful, completely unhurried attention of the teacher who knows this is the last teaching and who chooses every word. The discourse begins with the feet. Jesus rose from supper, laid aside his garments, and wrapped a towel around himself. He poured water into a basin and began washing the disciples' feet. Peter objected, "You shall never wash my feet." And Jesus said, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." The washing is the first teaching of the evening. The way of Jesus is the way of the servant, the downward way, the way that does not demand but gives, that does not stand above but kneels before. The way is shaped like a towel. And then the evening deepened. Judas left, and it was night. Peter was told about the denial. And Jesus said the sentence that precedes the I am statement, the sentence that Thomas's question is the response to. My Father's house has many rooms. I am going to prepare a place for you. I will come back and take you to be with me, so that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. You know the way. Thomas said, "We do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" The honest question, the direct question, the question of the person who will not perform the understanding they do not have. And Jesus said, "I am the way and the truth and the life." And then Jesus continued. He spoke of the Father, seen in him. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. He spoke of the works the disciples would do, greater things than these. He spoke of the Advocate, the Spirit of truth, who would come and be with them forever. He spoke of the peace he was leaving, not the peace that the world gives, the peace that does not require the circumstances to be favorable. My peace I give you, the peace that the world cannot give. This is the fullest context of the way, the truth, and the life. The peace that Jesus offers in the same chapter as the statement. The peace of the person who knows the way, who does not need to know every step of the journey in advance, because the one who is the way is walking ahead. The peace that holds the troubled heart, not by removing the trouble, but by providing the ground that the trouble cannot undermine. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The instruction is possible because the way has been named. I am the way. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way? This is the most important question anyone asked Jesus in the upper room, not because it was the most sophisticated, because it was the most honest. The other disciples received the going to prepare a place for you with what appears to be silence, either the understanding that Thomas did not have, or the failure to speak the confusion they shared. Thomas said what was true for him. We do not know where you are going. We do not know the way. The honesty is the gateway to the answer. If Thomas had nodded along with the others, had performed the understanding to avoid the embarrassment of the not knowing, he would not have received the I am the way, the truth, and the life. The question that felt like the admission of inadequacy was the question that produced the greatest I am statement in the Gospel of John. The honest question is never the wrong question. And then the story jumps forward to the resurrection. Thomas was not present when Jesus first appeared to the disciples after the resurrection. When the others told him, "We have seen the Lord," Thomas said, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." This is the Thomas who has been called Doubting Thomas across 2,000 years of the tradition. He is not doubting, he is grieving. Thomas had followed Jesus for 3 years. He had watched the crucifixion from the distance. He had lost the one he had organized his life around. And when the others said the resurrection had happened, when they offered the news that contradicted everything Thomas had experienced over the previous 3 days, Thomas said, "I need to see for myself. I need the evidence of the specific, embodied, completely real person who died and who is claimed to be alive." This is not the failure of faith. It is the faith of the person who has been through the worst and who will not accept the consolation that does not correspond to the reality. Thomas wanted the truth, the aletheia, the reliable reality, not the story that made people feel better. He wanted the thing that was what it appeared to be. A week later, the disciples were again in the house. This time Thomas was with them, and Jesus came. He stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God, my Lord and my God." The most complete confession of the divinity of Jesus in the entire New Testament. the person who would not accept the easy consolation, who insisted on the truth, the aletheia, the reliable reality, arrived at the most comprehensive statement of who Jesus was. The honest question in the upper room, the refusal of the second-hand report, the encounter with the risen Jesus, and the declaration that has never been surpassed, my Lord and my God. The way that Thomas walked, the honest question, the refusal of the performance, the insistence on the truth, led to the complete receiving. The path of the honest not knowing arrived at the fullest knowing available. I am the way. This is what the way looks like walked. I am the way and the truth and the life. 3 provisions, 3 healings, 3 answers to 3 forms of the human need. The way provides the direction. The person who does not know where they are going, who is walking without the confidence that the walking has a worthy destination, receives, in the I am the way, the answer that Thomas's honest question unlocked. The way is not the set of directions, it is the person. The walking in the way is the following of the one who walks ahead. And the following does not require the complete map of the journey in advance. It requires only the next step in the direction of the one who is the way, who knows where the way goes, because the way is his own existence. No one comes to the Father except through me. The exclusive claim has troubled many people across the centuries, and it should be heard with the full weight of its context. Jesus says this in the upper room to the people who are most disoriented, most afraid, most uncertain about where they are going. The claim is not the exclusion of the searcher. It is the provision of the specific, concrete, completely personal access to the Father, the access that is available through the one who is himself the way. The way is open. The way is the person. The coming to the Father is the following of the one who is going to the Father and who invites the following. The truth provides the reliable reality. The person in the truth crisis, who does not know what to trust, who has received so many conflicting accounts that the stable category of the reliable truth has become genuinely unstable, receives in the I am the truth, the ground that the crisis has been reaching for. The truth is not a proposition to be argued, it is a person to be followed. The aletheia of Jesus is the aletheia of the one who said the same things in the light as in the dark, who performed nothing that was not the genuine reality, who was what he appeared to be all the way through. Your word is truth. John 17:17. The truth that Jesus prays into the disciples is the truth of his own identity extended into the way of their living. The walking in the truth is the living in the way of the one who is what he appears to be, the formation of the life that does not perform a reality different from the reality it is. The truth is the reliable reality received from the reliable person. The life provides the divine vitality. The person whose bios is present, but whose Zoe is thin, who is living but not fully alive, who is breathing but not flourishing, receives, in the I am the life, the invitation to the participation in the Zoe that is the life of God. The same Zoe that was in the beginning with the Word. The same Zoe that is offered in the bread of life and the resurrection and the life. The life that the way and the truth are the path to. the full life, the abundant life, the I have come that they may have life and have it to the full, and the peace. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The peace that Jesus leaves in the same chapter as the I am the way, the truth, and the life is the peace of the person who knows the way, who does not need the complete map, who does not need the circumstances to be resolved, who carries the troubled heart and also carries the ground that the trouble cannot undermine. The peace is not the absence of the trouble. It is the presence of the one who is the way through the trouble. The psychological research on direction, trust, and flourishing speaks directly to the three words of the way, truth, and life, I am. The first concept is the psychology of direction and psychological well-being. The psychologist Carol Riff's research on psychological well-being identified 6 components of the flourishing life, one of which she called purpose in life. The specific sense that the life has direction, that the activities of the life are moving toward a worthy destination, that the path being walked is going somewhere. The research consistently shows that purpose in life is one of the strongest predictors of psychological well-being, resilience, and physical health. The person with a clear sense of direction, who knows why the walking matters and where it is going, flourishes differently than the person without it. Thomas's question is the purpose in life question. We do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? The troubled heart of the disciple in the upper room is the troubled heart of the person whose sense of direction has been disrupted. The teacher who gave the direction is saying he is leaving. The path that the following provided is ending. And the honest question is, where are we going? Is there still a way? I am the way. The direction is not a destination that can be memorized and then walked toward in the absence of the guide. The direction is the person, the following of the one who goes ahead, who is both the direction and the companion, who provides the purpose in life not as a proposition to assent to, but as a relationship to enter and maintain. The research on purpose in life finds that the most stable and most sustaining form of the sense of direction is the purpose that is embedded in the relationship. The person who is heading somewhere with someone, whose walking has the specific, grounded, completely real sense of going somewhere with the one who knows where. The practical application. When the direction feels unclear, when Thomas's question is the honest condition tonight, bring the question to the one who received it with the answer. We do not know the way. I am the way. The honest not knowing is the gateway to the direction that the performance of the knowing could not receive. The second concept is the psychology of epistemic trust. The developmental psychologist Peter Fonagy and colleagues introduced the concept of epistemic trust, the specific form of trust that makes learning from another person possible. Epistemic trust is the trust that the information coming from a particular source is genuine and relevant. The trust that the person is telling the truth and that the truth they are telling is the truth about the actual world rather than a performance designed to serve the speaker's interests. The epistemic trust crisis is the condition of the contemporary person who has received so many performances of the truth that the category of the reliable communication has become genuinely unstable. The person who does not know what to trust, because the experience of the betrayed trust has been accumulated across the public discourse, the media, the institutions, the individual relationships, is the person for whom Pilate's question is the lived experience. What is truth? I am the truth. The aletheia of Jesus, the one who said, I am the truth on the night before his own death, when the performance of a different reality would have been in his survival interest, is the epistemic ground that the trust crisis has been reaching for. The person who is what he appears to be, who says the same things in the upper room that he said in the temple courts, who does not perform a reality for the disciples that is different from the reality of the cross. The practical application, the epistemic trust that the truth crisis has depleted, is rebuilt by the returning to the one who has the most consistent record of being what he appeared to be. The Gospels are the record of the aletheia, the reliable reality of the person across the years of the public ministry, the private conversations, the darkest night, the death and the resurrection. The trust is formed in the returning, in the bringing of the what is truth question to the one who said, I am the truth, and who was, all the way through, what he said. The third concept is the psychology of vitality and the conditions that produce it. The self-determination theorists Deci and Ryan, whose work on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation we encountered in the sloth session, have also studied what they call subjective vitality, the specific, felt sense of being alive and energized, the experience of the life as the life, rather than the going through the motions of the life. The research on subjective vitality consistently identifies three conditions that produce it: the experience of autonomy, the experience of competence, and the experience of relatedness, the sense of being genuinely connected to other people and to activities that matter. The life that Jesus offers in the I am the life, the Zoe, the divine vitality, is the life that addresses each of these conditions at the deepest level. The following of the one who is the way provides the direction that the autonomy requires, the freedom of the person who walks in the way because they have chosen the way, not because the way has been imposed. The truth that is the reliable reality provides the competence of the person who knows what they are walking toward. And the relationship with the one who is the way, the truth, and the life is the relatedness that sustains the vitality across the seasons when the vitality feels thin. The practical application, the subjective vitality that is absent in the person who is living but not fully alive, is not primarily produced by the adjustment of the circumstances. It is produced by the reconnection, the returning to the one who is the life, the bringing of the thin vitality to the source that makes the Zoe available. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. The full life is the life connected to the source of the life. The upper room is alive in your life right now. There is a woman who does not know the way. She has been walking a specific path for 11 years. The career, the life choices, the direction that seemed, when the choosing began, like the right direction. And the path has produced what paths produce when they are walked faithfully: the progression, the development, the arrival at the place that the path pointed toward. She is where the path led, and she is asking Thomas's question, is this the way? The arrival does not feel like the arrival. The place the path pointed toward does not have the quality of the destination she was walking toward. The work is right, and the life is ordered, and the path was faithfully walked, and she is lying awake with the specific, private, completely honest question that she cannot ask in the daytime because the daytime does not have space for the question. Is this the way? Is there a way? If this is the destination, how can we know the way was right? She is in the upper room. The teacher is saying, do not let your hearts be troubled. The heart is troubled because the direction is uncertain, because the arrival at the place the path pointed toward has produced the Thomas question rather than the peace that was supposed to come with the arriving. I am the way. The way is not the career path or the life choices or the direction that the faithfully walked path pointed toward. The way is the person, the following of the one who goes ahead. And the following is available at the arrival as much as at the beginning, available to the person who has arrived at the destination and found it to be the beginning of the next question, as much as to the person who has not yet started walking. The question is the gateway. We do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way? I am the way. There is a man who does not know what to trust. The truth crisis is his specific condition. He has been paying attention for a long time to the news, to the discourse, to the competing claims about the nature of reality that arrive from every direction with equal confidence and equal contempt for the opposing position. He has been trying to find the reliable account, the aletheia, the thing that is what it appears to be, and has found, across the years of the paying attention, that the reliable account is harder to locate than the truth crisis has made it. What is truth? Pilate's question, not asked cynically, asked by the person who has been trying to find the answer and who has concluded across the accumulated experience of the discourse that the question may not have a stable answer, that the truth is whatever the most persuasive current argument makes it, that the reliable reality is not available in the current epistemic environment. He is in the upper room. On the worst night, to the most frightened audience, with the most to lose from the performance of a different reality, Jesus said, I am the truth. Not, I will tell you the truth. Not, I have access to the truth. I am the truth. The reliable reality is the person. The aletheia is not a proposition to be verified. It is the one who was what he appeared to be all the way to the cross and out the other side. The epistemic trust is rebuilt not by the resolution of the truth crisis in the discourse. It is rebuilt by the returning to the one who has the most consistent record of being what he appeared to be, who said in the upper room what he had said in the temple courts, and what he would say to Pilate in the morning, and what he would demonstrate on the cross and confirm in the resurrection. What is truth? I am the truth, the reliable reality available tonight. And there is a person lying awake in the thin life, alive, present, functioning, and experiencing the specific, persistent, difficult-to-name sense that the life being lived is not the full life, not the depressed life. Depression is a clinical condition with its own particular texture. the thin life, the life that has the form of the living without the full quality of the alive, the bios without the zoe, the going through the motions with the competence of the person who has been doing the motions long enough that they are automatic. This person is not in crisis. They are in the quiet depletion of the person whose connection to the source of the vitality has become thin, who has been giving and doing and maintaining without the returning to the place of the receiving that makes the giving sustainable, who has been walking without the eating and the drinking that the road requires. I am the life, the Zoe, the divine vitality, the participation in the existence of the I am, who is the source of the life that the bios was always pointing toward. The full life, the I have come that they may have life and have it to the full, is available to the person in the thin life precisely because the thin life is the signal. The thinness is the hunger for the Zoe. The hunger for the Zoe is the pointing toward the one who is the life. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The troubled heart of the person in the thin life is the heart that has been looking for the vitality in the places that do not hold it. The way is available. The truth is available. The life is available in the person who is the way and the truth and the life. Come in. The table is set, and the bread and the wine are not the symbols of the absence. They are the presence of the one who is the life. The formation of the person who knows the way is slow. Thomas walked the way for 3 years before he asked the question in the upper room. He walked the way for another week before he met the risen Jesus and said, "My Lord and my God." The knowing of the way is not the complete map given at the beginning of the journey. It is the accumulation of the experience of the following, the steps taken in the direction of the one who goes ahead, the learning of the way in the walking of it. The first thing that changes is the relationship with the not knowing. The person who has received Thomas's question as the gateway rather than the failure, who has understood that the honest not knowing is the question that produces the fullest answer, finds that the not knowing changes quality. The not knowing that was the evidence of the inadequate faith becomes the honest question that the way receives. The troubled heart that was the failure of the trust becomes the troubled heart that Jesus specifically addressed with the "do not let your hearts be troubled." The question is received. The way is available to the questioner. The second thing that changes is the experience of the truth. The person who has been walking in the way of the one who is the truth finds, across the seasons of the walking, that the reliable reality becomes more accessible. Not because the truth crisis has been resolved in the discourse, it has not been resolved and is unlikely to be resolved, but because the person who walks with the one who is the truth builds, across the walking, the specific capacity for the aletheia, the way of living that does not perform a reality different from the reality it is, that says the same things in the private conversation as in the public one. That is what it appears to be. The truth is formed in the person who follows the one who is the truth. The third thing that changes is the vitality. The person who has been receiving the life from the source of the life, who has been coming to the bread of life and drinking the living water and abiding in the vine that we will encounter in the final I am, finds the thin life gradually becoming less thin. The Zoe fills the bios from the inside. The going through the motions gradually develops the quality of the genuine living. The full life is not given all at once. It is received in the daily returning to the one who is the source of the life, in the practice of the coming, in the accumulation of the receivings across the seasons. The fourth change is the peace. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. The peace that the world gives is conditional, contingent on the circumstances being favorable, on the direction being clear, on the truth being stable, on the vitality being present. The peace that Jesus leaves is the peace of the person who knows the way, who does not need the complete map, who carries the troubled heart and the ground that the trouble cannot undermine simultaneously. The peace grows across the seasons of the knowing, not the peace of the resolved situation, the peace of the present person who is the way. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The instruction becomes less a command and more an invitation as the knowing deepens. The heart learns slowly to be less troubled because the way is known, not the destination, the way. And now, let everything grow very still. Thomas's question is in this room tonight, whatever form it takes. The not knowing the direction, the what is truth, the thin life that is alive but not fully alive. The honest question is received by the one who received Thomas's honest question in the upper room and who answered it with the most complete I am statement in the Gospel of John. Let the way be walked. The direction does not require the complete map. The next step is enough. The one who is the way goes ahead of the person who follows. As the Good Shepherd goes before the sheep, as the pillar of fire went before Israel in the wilderness, as the risen Jesus went ahead to Galilee. The following is the walking of the way, and the walking of the way is available tonight, in the turning toward the one who goes ahead, in the choosing of the next step in the direction of the person who is the way. The direction is not the destination on the map. The direction is the person. Let the truth be received. The aletheia of the one who said, I am the truth on the worst night, who was the same person in the upper room as on the cross as in the resurrection appearances, is available tonight as the ground of the epistemic trust that the truth crisis has depleted. The reliable reality is not the winning argument. It is the person who is what he appears to be. Return to that person tonight. Bring the what is truth question to the one who said, I am the truth, and who demonstrated the aletheia all the way through. Let the life be received, the Zoe, the divine vitality, the full life that the thin life has been pointing toward. The returning to the source of the life is tonight's practice. The coming to the bread of life, the drinking of the living water, the abiding in the vine. The life is received in the returning. The vitality is restored in the coming. Do not let your hearts be troubled. The peace that the world cannot give is the peace of the person who has received the way and the truth and the life from the one who is all three. I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 14:6. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. John 14:1. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. John 14:27. Thomas said to him, My Lord and my God. John 20:28. Your word is truth. John 17:17.